Hello and thanks for stopping by today. What I was playing there was some pedal steel influence phrases over a 1-4-5 backing track, both in the ballad and shuffle rhythms. And I'm using three chord shapes for every chord in the progression. And it's just the basic three triad inversions. I'm sure you've played these many times. And in this approach, I'm thinking more like a rhythm guitar player. I'm playing these chords and playing arpeggios over them, and it works very well behind a vocal or just as backup, and you can get very subtle with it, and then you can stretch out on it when the solo time comes. And I have these chord forms in PDF. You can download those from my Ko-fi page. You can also get the backing tracks. And then I have some exercises that show you different combinations of the 1-4-5 on the fretboard. And then you can also take the chord chart from the backing tracks, then practice changing these chord forms with a backing track. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you here today. And I'll go over the exercises with you. And then I'm going to show you the basic phrases that you can build out of these chord forms for both the standard and B bender guitar. And I'll have the timestamps here for you where it'll say standard or B bender guitar on it, and you can go to that application. And if you have a B bender, you can go to both. I use both techniques when I'm playing. I find it adds some variety. There's some very, very good pedal steel like effects you can get with just hammering on. Now the final two sections of this video, when you have the phrases for the standard or the B bender guitar, those are my first lesson from my monthly membership course, and it'll give you a chance to see how the lessons are taught. And you can also get the PDFs for those phrases on my Ko-fi page, along with the backing tracks and the chord form sheets and the exercises. So go download those and have some fun with this, and it'd be really great to have you come along for the ride on this course. We'll start out by grabbing the folder 1-4-5 major pedal steel forms, and we'll take out the key of C. And as you can see, I have the 1-4-5 written out in the key of C, the C, F, and G, and it shows you where all the positions are on the fretboard. And if you'll notice, I have the forms numbered 1, 2, and 3, and that's just simply to give them an identity. And you can always use these sheets as a reference to find where your chords are in the 1-4-5. So now we'll take out the folder, the 1-4-5 exercises, and we'll look at the key of C. And be sure to go through all the keys, very important. Now we start out with a C form 3 open, then I go to an F form 2, which is a 4 chord, then a G form 2, which is a 5 chord, back to a C form 1, the 1 chord. Now you can practice in between just this section here. Go backwards. So let's move on. And there's no specific way you need to go through these exercises. You can go through the whole page, or you can isolate sections. And it's really good to isolate sections, because a lot of your soloing you'll be working in a little area. So let's look at the next, the third line down. We have our C form 1 to an F form 3. It could be played this way too. Then our 5 chord, our G form 3, to a C form 2. Then moving on, we're at our C form 2 to our 4 chord, F form 1, G form 1 to a C form 3. Now you can make up your own, and you can even play one form on all the chords. Just play all the combinations you can think of. And so now I'm going to move on, and I'm going to take the backing tracks, and I'm going to show you how you can practice your forms with the 1-4-5 backing track. I will now play along with the backing track and move my forms when the chords move in the progression, the 1-4-5 progression. And so you'll need the chord chart for the backing tracks, and it's the same for the ballad and the shuffles. And you might want to start with a ballad because it's a little slower, and it's you have more time to move your form. And this will also give you a chance to hear the backing tracks. They're homemade backing tracks, but they sound pretty good with headphones or good speakers. But again, they're just working backing tracks, and you can make your own. And there's also lots of backing tracks on YouTube that you can use. But the purpose of these is just to learn your chord forms. So you could either strum them as you're playing along, or you can do an arpeggio. Again, the main purpose here is to learn to move these chord forms and find out where they are in the 1-4-5 progression. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4, 1, 5, For this video, you will need the folder Pedal Steel Major Forms Phrases Standard Guitar. What we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to review the 3 major chord forms used for the pedal steel phrases. And one thing to keep in mind is that you usually start these phrases with the form being held down, so you just follow the tablature. And we'll also be doing some single line lead-ins to where you play a line and then you play into your form, and we'll cover that. Now I have the fingers for the left hand and the pick directions on the tablature, and the fingers is pretty important, but the using the pick, you can use a pick, you can use fingers, finger pick it, you could hybrid pick it, whatever way you want to. I generally use the pick because I get the same volume and tone out of my strings, but again, that's up to the individual. So what we're going to do is look at each one of these forms and look at the basic phrases you can build out of these forms, and of course you can play them many different ways. So let's get right into this. We'll take out the PDF Form 1 Standard Guitar Phrases, page 1. Let's look at exercise 1, and we'll hold our form down, and we have 3 beats, so it's 1, 2, 3. And you can also just enter into your solo with this or into the song. So I'll just play the triplet into that note. In exercise 2, we play the same phrase, but we're going to slide into that first note and then go into our form. So I'll play that for you. So we're using our third finger to slide in there because it's the bottom finger for our form. Then I drop my fourth finger. Then I bar the top 2 strings. Now, even though we're not playing the high string, you're ready to. So exercise 2, one more time. In exercise 3, this is a pretty well-known intro type phrase. You can enter your solo or the song with this. And so exercise 3. 1. One more time. 1. In exercise 4, we do this same phrase, but we slide into the first note like we did in our previous exercise. In exercises 5, 6, 7, and 8, we're going to play each phrase, but we're going to alternate between the G string and the low D string, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Sometimes we'll be going down from the B string to the D string, and sometimes we'll be going from the B string down to the G string. And I'll point that out when we do the exercise here. So exercise 5. So you can hear I went down to that low note. Let me do the exercise for you again. Now exercise 6. You see, that time I went down to this note. So you'll find those in the tab, but what that does is it gives you, some options so you can have some variety in your phrases out of Form 1. So let me play exercise 6 again for you. I'll play it slowly. Okay, exercise 7 is the same as 5, but we're going to slide into our note like we did before in the previous exercises. 1. I'll do it slowly. 1. One more time. 1. And exercise 8 is the same as exercise 6, but we're going to slide into this one. 1. As you can see, we went down to this note. Exercise 8. 1. In exercises 9 and 10, we're going to have a single line getting into our form, and this is a very popular approach here to this phrase. And so let me play exercise 9 for you. So what I did there was I slid into the bottom note of our form on the 5th fret from the 4th with our 3rd finger. Then we went over to the 2nd fret with our 1st finger on the G string. And then the 4th fret of the G string with the 3rd finger. Then slide into the 5th fret. Then we're barring those 2 notes on the top, then drop back into our form. And the reason we drop back in our form is we need this note, but we're also ready to play an extended phrase in that form. So let me do exercise 9 again for you. 1. Again. 1. Now in exercise 10, we're going to use that other option note going down to the G string, and you'll see that. And also, let me play it for you. And notice we didn't drop back down into the form. I also use this approach because now I'm ready to travel up the neck to another phrase. But you can also drop back into the form on that exercise if you want to stay there. But what I'm showing here is so I have my fingers up in this area, and so I'm ready to move. And so you just practice it both ways. Now, so let me play exercise 10 again for you. 1. And so let me do that exercise, and I'm going to go back down to the form. It's not on the PDF, but I'll show you. Drop back down. Now I'm ready to continue a phrase staying here, and the other option was so I can go up the neck. So just practice them both ways. And by all means, if you come up with a idea, any kind of something leads you into some kind of phrase, by all means do it. That's a really great idea, and it starts you start building your ideas in the form. We are now on page 2 of our Form 1 guitar phrases. So we're going to take a look at exercises 11, 12, and 13. Now these 3 phrases are all the same phrase, but we alternate between those 2 notes that we worked with on the previous exercises. So see if you can hear them as I play them, but they're in the tab there and you'll find them as you play. So let's take exercise 11. 1, 2, 3. Exercise 12. 1, 2, 3. Exercise 13. 1, 2, 3. In exercises 14 and 15, we're going to be adding the octave root to our form 1, which for C is on the 8th fret. So here's our form 1, and here's our upper octave root. And it's a good idea to go through all your keys and find your octave root with your form 1. So if I'm in the key of D, here's my D form 1. I have it here, so just go through all the keys, and it's good to get familiarized with that. So let me play exercise 14 for you. And see how I went back down into my form? I'll do it slowly. Down to the form. And as you come down, you're going to be barring these strings here. Bar, there's a bar there. Drop down. So I'll do it one more time for you. Okay, exercise 15. This is just a practice to jump from the form position up to the octaves. So this is simply one more time. And notice I went down to the 3rd finger, and I have that on the tab, but you can go down to your form too. Form. See, I extended my my phrase there. We are now on page 3 of our Form 1 phrases, and in exercise 16 we're going to bring in the 6th degree of the scale. So for C it's the A on the 5th fret. So always know where your 6 is in relation to your form 1. So you always have a 6 right here in your form 1. So we're going to play this exercise 16 using the octave root and the 6th degree. So I'll play 16. And see how I went down into my form there? I'll do that again. Bar. Down to the form. One more time. In exercise 17, we're going to look at the flat 7 for the 1 chord. So for C, it's the B flat on the 6th fret, and it's the only note that's not in the diatonic C scale, but it's used to go from the 1 to the 4 chord. It's a very popular move in many styles of music. So you have your 1 chord, your 1/7, and into your 4. So you don't have to use it all the time, but it adds some little bit of tension to go into that 4 chord. So it's a brings some flavor to your phrases. And again, with all your form ones, know where your flat 7 is. So let me play exercise 17. 1, 2, 3. And again, I went back down into my form. I'll do it slowly. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Now, mind you, with the 6 and the 7, we have a lot more licks, but this exercise is just to introduce it to the form, and we'll be, like I say, we'll be getting into a lot more phrasing there. So we now have the octave root, we have the flat 7, the dominant 7, and we have the 6. Very important because we do a lot of extended phrases with these scale degrees. We are now on page 4, and we're going to take a look at the form 2. So let's find our C form 2. Now when I'm playing in the form 2 position on the 1 chord, I use the sus4 of that 1 chord quite a bit. And you've heard that many times. It's a real classic country pedal steel phrase. Now we also have this hammer on here on the B string, and these notes here are also found in the F form 1, which is a 4 chord of C. So you can hear that, and what I'm getting at is that lick there, those notes there strongly imply the 4 chord. And I use them a lot for going from the 1 to the 4, but not necessarily while I'm in the 1 chord. That's why I use that sus4 a lot. And I'm going to explain this further when we start connecting our chords with our phrases. But just remember that these notes here strongly imply that 4 chord. That's why I use this sus4 over the 1 chord. Anyway, let's look at exercise 1. And we got a downbeat. 1. And that's a nice intro into your solo or into the song. And you can hear that 4 chord when I hit this. You heard that? So you just have to be a little careful when you're in your solo and you're playing over the 1 chord, because it'll keep drawing you to that 4. That's why this sus4 is so great here. Anyway, let's do exercise 2 here. Now that's a nice ending to a song there. And it can be in your solo. I'll do it one more time so you can hear it. And it's the hammer-ons and pull-offs that really give it that effect, that cool effect. Okay, we're going to move on to exercise 3, and in your major forms folder, your pedal steel major forms folder, I put a PDF in there called alternative fingerings, and I use an alternative fingering for the form 2 and the form 3. Now I have them written out in C, but you apply them to all the keys. And so for form 2 here, the alternative is just the 3 middle strings of that chord. And the reason I do this is when I'm in this 3-note chord here, I can move easier. And but when I'm in this position, I'm clamped down and I'm kind of tied in there. But this is very important too. We use this a lot, and you could even collapse on that high string when you need it. And also in this 3-note chord here, I get a little stronger grip on, and I can even give my strings a little vibrato. And I can go up and grab that note if I need it. And I was able to move easily with it. So we use both of them, and as we go along, you'll see how we can use them, but experiment between the two. And also when you're practicing your 1-4-5 forms, changing the forms, start using that also. Use this one and use this one. So exercise 3, we're going to do it with the alternative form here. And so we got a downbeat 1. And that ends on the 3rd of the chord. Nice strong triad note there. 1. And exercise 4. Now in exercise 4 we're going to be playing this high note here on the 8th fret of the C, the top of our form 2. So we could either collapse onto it or start into it. I'll explain that here. So 1. Now if I want to collapse on it, I would go like this. 1. See how I collapse down onto it? So it's not a big deal. It's just be able to move between holding the full form down or just the 3-note chord. Okay, exercise 5. This is a triplet exercises with a sus4, and we're going to use our alternative form here. And notice that the first note before the repeat signs is a downbeat. The next time that low note comes, we have an upstroke. And it's an upstroke from then on, so. And you want to build this up over time. Just start slow, and that'll help you learn that technique of doing the sus4 with the triplets. We are now on page 5, and we're going to take a look at the form 3. So in C, we have it in the open position, and then we have it at the 12th fret in the closed position. Now, I also use the sus4 pretty much with this form. You have the suspended fourth. So let's look at the open position here on exercise 1, and we're going to use that sus4 pull off. And again at the 12th fret. Okay, exercise 13 is a triplet exercise. We use the triplet a lot in our pedal steel uh, effects, and what I'm doing there is I'm picking down on the first note, which is pull off, then an upstroke, down, up. Now I'll play the exercise. Play it slow till you can get it fast. Okay, exercise 4, we're going to use our form 3 alternative chord. So in the open position, it is here. And on the 12th fret, where the upper position is, it's right here. So that's on your PDF for the alternative chords. I'm sure you played this one here before. And this one does the same as the form 2 alternative chord. I can move pretty fast through the chord changes with this one, and you can with this one also. But they mostly they offer you a little different, a different sound, and they both use the sus4. Now you could borrow the thing and get both of them, but then you wouldn't have any fingers to do any pull off. So also add this form, alternative form 3, in your practice of making your changes with the backing track. So anyway, we have those two new forms to put into our arsenal. Now let's look at exercise 4, and this is in the open position. So and I'm just lifting that finger, and it gives you that pedal steel sound. And we'll go to the 12th fret and our alternative chord. Make it a little cleaner here for you. Now, very important, try these everywhere. You have them down here. And again, you can play your backing tracks and maybe play that over the 3 chords or any of these exercises, and practice changing with the backing track. So there we have the basic phrases we can build out of these chord forms. And of course, we can expand on them. We could add some single line, and we're going to do that as we move along. So again, it's very important to play all of these in all the keys we're playing in. Play along with the backing track. See if you can take some of these phrases and play them when the chord comes up. You can use one of the phrases, and there's nothing wrong with using a form 1 through all 3 of the keys, or a form 2, and then maybe you can mix them up, do a form 1 to a form 3. But we're going to cover all that as we get going. Our next video is going to be starting to link some of these forms together in the 1-4-5 progression. Alrighty, great, and we'll see you on the next video. For this video, you will need the folder Pedal Steel Major Forms Phrases, B-Bender. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over the 3 major forms and learn the basic phrases you can start building out of these forms. And also, when you're going through these exercises, they're mainly played with the form already held down, and just follow the tablature, and now and then we may do a single line, and then you go into the form, and that'll be explained as we go along. And also, for you folks with the B-benders, you might want to check out the standard guitar, because it It just adds more to your arsenal, and I use both techniques quite a bit. For example, for the B bender, and then the standard would be played like this. So you get an option of techniques, but that's up to the individual. It's there for you if you'd like to check it out. So anyway, I'm going to get this camera set up a little close to the neck, and we'll get started. We'll take out the PDF Form 1 B bender phrases, page 1. Now, if we look at exercise 1 on the second measure, you'll see an arrow next to the note, and that simply means to bend the note up. So let's play exercise 1. We start with a triplet. 1, 2, 3. And you can also just go without picking that last note and go right into the bend. So either way works. Now in exercise 2, we slide into the first note of our form. So this note here on the 4th fret of the D string with your 3rd finger slides in. Then you catch the next note with your 4th finger, and then you bar the top 2 strings. So you're ready to hit that high note if you need it. So let me just play this exercise for you. 1, 2, 3. Exercise 3 is a well-known intro. You could use it for an intro to your solo or to the song. I'll play it for you here. 1. One more time. 1. In exercise 4, we're going to do the same phrase, but we're going to slide into that note again. One more time. In exercises 5, 6, 7, and 8, we are going to be playing a phrase that alters between 2 notes in each exercise. And what that is sometimes we'll be going from the B string down to the D string, and sometimes we'll be going from the B string down to the G string. So just follow your tab, and you'll find out these spots by learning them. But see if you can hear them as I play them. So exercise 5. Again, exercise 5. 1. Now exercise 6. So I'm sure you heard the difference on exercise 5. At the end of the first measure, I did this. And on 6, I went here. And what these exercises are for is to show you that you have the option between those 2 notes, so you can, add some variety to your lines by, switching between those notes. Okay, exercise 7 is the same as 5, but we have our slide in. So I'll play this for you. Exercise 7. One more time. Exercise 8. Once again. In exercises 9 and 10, we are going to do a single line before we play our form. And it's a very classic intro. I'm sure you've heard this one. But the difference between 9 and 10 is we're using one of our variations of the two strings we just covered. So here is exercise 9. So what I'm doing there is I'm sliding in with my third finger, then my first finger on the second fret of the G string, then my third finger on the fourth fret of the G string, and then sliding into the fifth fret. Then I bar the top 2, then drop back to my form to catch that low note. So I'll do this exercise 9 again. Exercise 10. So you heard it that time, I went down to the G note. So exercise 10 one more time. 1. We are now on page 2 of our Form 1 phrases, and we're going to take a look at exercises 11 through 15. Now these are pretty much the same phrase, but each one of them has a different combination of those two notes we were working on the previous exercises. They alternate between those two notes. So listen to them as I play them, see if you can pick them out, and you'll find them in the tablature as you play along. Now look at exercise 11 on the second measure. You'll see the arrow pointing up has a squiggly line on the stem. And what that means is you bend the note and you keep the note bent, keep the mechanism engaged. And at the end of that phrase, I'll play those two notes before it. And the squiggly line going down is to release the bend. And at the end of the phrase, you'll see we have a regular arrow there. So let me play exercise 11. 1, 2, 3. Exercise 12. Exercise 13. Exercise 14. Exercise 15. 1, 2, 3. We are now on page 3, and we're going to bring in the root octave for the form 1. So for the key of C, it's on the 8th fret. You have your form 1. So it's a good idea to go through all your keys, all your form 1s, and then find the octave root. You have E, and so on. And it's also important to practice these exercises in all the keys. Very important. So in exercise 16, if you look at the third note, we have the squiggly line going down. That means that that note is already engaged. And you can engage it at the start of your phrase, or you can do it when you get to it. It's both ways works. So I'm going to play exercise 16. So again. In exercise 17, we're going to bring in the 6th degree of the scale. So for C, it's A. It's here on the 5th fret. And you can check and see where your 6 is in relation to your form 1. So now we have the octave root and the 6. And so this exercise covers both. So I'll play the exercise for you. And on the second measure, we have our squiggly line going up, and then at the end of that measure coming down. So 17. Again. See how I went back to the bottom of my form and grabbed both those strings, so you're going back into your form. So let me play it one more time and point that out. Form. Form. So you're always going back into your form, so you can utilize the whole form of notes there. You can continue with a phrase is what I'm trying to say. So I kept my phrase going and I was holding my form. So very important. In exercise 18, we have the octave root and the 6 again. So I'll play this line for you. 18. Again. In exercise 19, we're going to bring in the dominant 7 or the flat 7. And this is for the 1 chord, and it's the only note that's not in the diatonic scale of C. But we use it to go from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. So, and which is quite common in all styles of music. And so I'll play exercise 19. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. We are now on page 4, and we're going to take a look at the form 2. So let's find our C form 2. Now in the form 2, I use primarily the sus4, a very recognizable sound in country music, pedal steel. And the bend that is in form 2 over the 1 chord, I use very carefully over the 1 chord because it heavily implies the 4 chord. So if we look at our F form 1, which is the 4 chord of C, that's the bend that's right here in this C position. And so it's good for intros. And when I usually play this in a phrase over the 1 chord, I'll do it quickly and I'll just use it carefully. And you'll hear that as you play over the backing track. So that's why I use the sus4 quite a bit here. I get a lot of miles out of that sus4 out of this position. And also, if you look at your folder, the pedal steel major forms, I have a PDF entitled Alternative Forms, and I use an alternative form for both the form 2 and the form 3. And for the form 2, it's just simply playing the inside strings without barring the top. And the reason I do this is if I'm in this just 3-finger position, I can move pretty fastly into my next, going back and forth, because when you're holding everything down, you're kind of squeezing. And but this is very important too. I get a lot of phrases, so I usually use this when I'm hanging out in this area, and then when I get ready to move, I'll get back into the 3. And I can move pretty quickly. So you have to experiment with the 2. So when you're practicing your 1-4-5s, go to this chord also, the 3-note chord, as well as this. So in exercise 1, we're going to do a phrase that has the sus4 in it. And again, the sus4 is what I primarily use in this position. Exercise 2. That's a good intro right there, but you can see how that bend in this position. It really strongly implies the 4, so good for intros. I'll do exercise 2 one more time. In exercise 3, we have a phrase that there's no bend in this phrase, but it's a nice ending. You can use it to end your solo or end a song, do an ending for the song. I'll play it for you. So it's the hammer-ons and pull-offs that really make this sound cool here. Now exercise 4, we're going to use our alternative fingering for form 2, and it's a triplet exercise with the sus4, and I'll play it for you. And you'll see that the first note is picked down, and then when you get inside of the repeat signs, then every time you get to that low note, it's going to be an upstroke, and that'll keep you rolling in there. So you can do it slowly. And you want to build it up to speed. We are now on page 5, and we're going to take a look at the form 3. And in the key of C, we have it in the open position. We have it in the closed position at the 12th fret. Now the form 3 bend works anytime over the one chord. It's the major, it's the root being bent to the major second. So you get, works well anytime over that one chord. So let's play exercise 1. We got a pre-bend. Again. And we'll do the same on exercise 2 on the closed position. Pre-bend. Again. Okay, in exercise 3, we're going to bring in the sus4, and I use the sus4 a lot in form 3. Works well. So I'll do exercise 3. We got a downbeat. 1. Again. 1. And then on exercise 4, we'll do the same at the closed position. 1. Again. 1. In exercise 5, we have a triplet exercise. It's a sus4 exercise just to get the pull off there, so it's simply so the first pick is a downstroke, then an upstroke. Keep it slow till you can get it fast. Okay, on exercise 6, we're going to bring in that alternate alternative form for the form 3. So here's our form 3 here, and then this is our alternative. I'm sure you've played this chord before, and I go between the two quite a bit. So like the form 2 alternative chord, put that in your practice because we use both of them. And each one has like this inside chord moves well with the inside chords when I'm making movement. Now you could bar everything, get everything, but then you really can't use your free fingers to get all your hammer-ons and pull-offs. But just experiment with it. So let's look at exercise 6. So we have the open, and so you can just lift your finger on that last note. Or you can pick it. Okay, let's go up to the 12th fret and get our alternative form here, and so there we have our basic phrases that we can start building out of these three forms. And so be sure to experiment with them, play them in other keys, very, very important. Play them along with a backing track. You can even take one phrase, you can even take with the first phrase we learned, and you can move it to the 4 chord, into the 5, and so on, or just take different exercises here and see where you can put them in. And again, just play with them and experiment with them. And after this video here, we're going to get into making those changes, you know, from the 1 to the 4 chord and to the 5 chord. Okay, great. We'll see you on the next video.